Hello, YouTube. Little follow-up video to the Transformers review I did. I believe I said in that video I know I'm going to think of a couple other things when I wake up the next day, and lo and behold, I did. Uh, First one, this is the one I guarantee you all of the reviewers are going to hit on. There was a lot of homophobic jokes in that film. They had this one Asian dude who I think I've seen in other movies, who was kind of acting all weird, doing weird stuff, and and then they did a lot of homophobic stuff with him, like him coming to Sam in like in the bathroom to try to like give him a secret, and he'd pull like some notes out of his boxers and shove them in his face, and yeah, I guarantee you they're gonna be ripping that scene. That's gonna become that's basically the scene that's going to be the robot balls, mother getting high, uh, dogs fucking each other scene of this movie. Although, granted, it's at least it's only one scene in this one. But yeah, that is going to be the one and they kind of hit on that kind of homophobic vibe a couple of times. So I guarantee you people are going to be hitting on that with the reviews and stuff. Even I thought, I was like, dude, you've already done like 4 or 5 jokes about, oh, he's gay but he's not. You can get another joke. It can be funny once or twice in a film. Uh, who else? Oh yeah, John Malkovich. So I'm sure, although it's John Malkovich, so being John Malkovich being crazy, I expect. But he's at one scene, he's kind of like nuts at work. He's basically like, picture like the worst type of boss you can think of, who's like uber controlling, and I don't think anyone who worked on the script ever worked in an actual office. Yeah, they're a little too crazy about, oh, this is how corporate culture works. I think they're a little I think they're taking it a little too far. Though I will give the script, and this is something I really had to hit. I should tell, when if they're trying to make Sam relatable, I really have to admit they succeeded, at least with me, but I don't think that's going to work with everybody. And what I mean by that is, okay, he's just graduated, he's looking for a job in Washington D.C. Yeah, wants to do some important. His character is, I see him as me. They actually did get me, my background. I just graduated a couple months ago, and let's face it, the economy's slow. It is fucking hard to get work if you just graduate. You don't have any experience in the field you're going for. I myself was a public policy major, so it's tough right now. So if I have, let's say, more positive for the plot and stuff of this movie, it's only because with me in particular, they really did hit the relatability button with me. I mean, especially in Washington. Although if he's complaining he hasn't gotten a job in Washington in 3 months, like, dude, 3 months is like how long it takes for them to really get back whether you know you've gotten a position or not. Seriously, I love how he's looking at corporations in DC. Most people look at nonprofits, or yeah, there's not a whole lot of corporate offices in DC. I mean, outside of Northrop Grumman, and Boeing's got a field office out there. Defense contractors. That's about it. But yeah, although I love how he's just going to. It is for people in that age range. If people who've just graduated college, they've, and I think it also hit with me is because I interned in Washington D.C., which is why I'm trying to get back because I love the city. But when I interned, I was doing I was doing important stuff. I can't say about everything I did, but I wasn't working for a spy agency or anything. No, it's just we have some confidentiality rules. But I got to go visit embassies. I got to meet with high level government people. I met ambassadors, generals, admirals, and such. And for you were kind of right in the flow of business. And then afterwards, now you're not. You can't get a job, and it's tough. Uh, so for him going, I did important things, and now I'm nobody. I can't. I want to go and matter again. it actually did strike a chord with me. His character did. So if you're kind of maybe wondering why maybe it seemed like I gave the movie a little slack, it's only because they really did hit the relatability button with me. I guarantee you, there's a lot of other people who did not hit the relatability button. And when I say they hit the relatability, I mean they really hit with me in particular. But what was I was gonna say though, there is a kind of a sign that maybe they're a little outdated. I think there is a lot of people right now, especially anyone who's just graduated, is really feeling that because the we still have 10% unemployment, and even though most of that is not in the educated section, it's blue collar work that is really hurting. There's still a lot of people, especially in government in DC and stuff like that, who got laid off, and therefore there's a lot of people who normally would look at private sector that are looking in the public sector for work, which is what I'm primarily who have experience, and that's the tough one right now. It used to be you can kind of get on these starting programs, uh, entry level stuff, work your way up, and right now it's so competitive. Just because you have a lot of people with experience looking, so it's so hard without having the experience. So there will be a segment of people that do find the kind of that part of the plot very relatable, but they do have where he's going to all these different interviews, and that's where it kind of that's a bit of a sign that the times have changed since these guys. Man, nowadays if you get to the interview portion, you are in luck. You pretty much made it if they go, oh, we'll bring you in for an interview. That means they pretty much want you. They're just doing a final double check. Uh, It's true because most of the stuff you apply, it used to be they go through and they'd ask you the basic questions. Do you know this? What is your experience with that? Nowadays, I mean, I'm sure people back me up on this one. If you apply for most large organizations, they just have you fill out a questionnaire online and do an online application that way. And that way they can just kind of scoot through real quick, give you a score, and they don't need as much of that part of the interview process to figure out who's on top. They can just use an automated function to figure out what your top candidates are and then interview them. So running around to different interviews it's kind of disheartening. At least when you're running around to different places, you always feel like there's a chance. Now you just kind of you fill out an application and then a couple like for federal positions like it's like 2 months later you finally get a little thing back saying no, you're eligible but you weren't selected. Mainly because they're also really picky right now because they know they have the pick of the litter, so they'll put in a lot of specifications on there. And there's always like two or three things that you like. I never used that particular program before, and there's normally like two or three applicants who actually ever. There's some really obscure programs that the government uses. I guess they probably haven't updated in 5-6 years to save some money on budget, but I digress on that. Yeah, but it's also even relatable with the parents kind of being frustrated. You haven't found a job yet? Not understanding. Yeah, it takes a while to get a job nowadays. It's not as much that interpersonal connection there. Uh, I've had the same thing, although my parents are a little bit more understanding because I've had a brother who has also gone through the federal hiring process right before I did, and it took him months and months, and he's actually now only getting close to the end, basically. So at this point, they're a little bit more understanding that if you're looking for a job in the government, it takes a while for you to actually get hired. uh, so that's why I'm saying it's relatable to me. But that's just because of my particular circumstances. But yeah, there was the whole homophobia thing, which I didn't hit on last night. I did want to talk about how the relatability thing, which to me was unique. I know there was something else. Oh yeah, about who to. I do think Michael Bay gets a slightly bad rap, and here's what I mean by that. People complain about all the stuff Michael Bay does. Why would the hell would Michael Bay change any of the stupid stuff he does in his films? No, seriously. His films bring in $500 million when he does something stupid like this. It would be insanity for him to change it And not do, because he's done more serious stuff, and it was never as big as this. He did The Island. I know not everyone likes The Island, but it was a fairly serious attempt on Michael Bay's part to be, kind of a more serious, hard sci-fi movie with better themes and such. And you know what? Didn't do that good at box office. I mean, I think it made its money back, but just barely. So look at that. So the people you really had. So what are we telling Michael Bay to do? It's the man will make a more serious film. I guarantee you. If you go and pay money to see that, and I can just tell by the audience. First of all, this theater I went to last night was the most packed out of all the midnight showings I've been to this year, and I've been to about 3 or 4, maybe 5. So I've been to a few, and they were never as packed as that. They should have been packed for some of the other ones I've seen, not for Transformers. But you can look at some of the people you looked in there, and they were not the brightest in the brightest bunch there were. Ironic for me to say that at that point. They were not the brightest bunch, and I think 1 or 2 of them were either drunk or high when I saw them leave the theater. They were very stumbly. Might be the way to watch this film. Yeah. And that's why he gets the money. He does bring in the not so serious. They see like 1 or 2 movies a year type, and that is enough to bring in a lot of dough, apparently. But that's why these movies keep on getting made, and I do think that we do. People blame Michael Bay. Michael Bay is filling a service for which there is a demand for. The thing is not to yell at Michael Bay. The thing is to yell at the idiots who keep on paying to see the movie. Okay, technically I'm part of that, but I see pretty much everything. I am the constant in there. I am part of that constant small fraction that it goes to the movies pretty much every week. Except for last week. But yeah, that's my place. I'm a constant, because I know some people go, well, you saw the movie. Yeah, I saw the movie, but I see pretty much every movie that comes out. It's the people that kind of go see just a Michael Bay film, run out and see that, and then complain. Yeah, shame on them. And at least I'm willing to constructively criticize it. But, yeah. That is about it. That's about everything I missed from yesterday. There's probably a couple other little things in there, or possibly big things. Watch, I'm going to miss 1 or 2 things I'm kind of having in the back of my mind. I don't think are going to be big, and then everyone else is going to talk about it. Oh well. But here's a follow-up if you really wanted it, for like the 24 people that might eventually, over the course of a year, click on this video, who watched my previous one. Hey, you got a filler, or about a 15-minute filler. Signing off.